Hey, Selfish Babes, it's your girl Olenike Osibowale, bringing you back another Selfish Babe podcast. And today I have Chef Ahki Taylor with me today, and we're going to get into some deep diving because there was a YouTube video that she posted probably like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and it was about moving out of America. And she really had some really great gems that I wanted to go over. So first, I want her to say hello.
Hey, selfish babes.
And Chef Ahki Taylor is a nutritional counselor or coach. Is it a coach or counselor?
Both.
Okay, she's a nutritional counselor and coach, and she also has wonderful women's retreats, especially in Belize. And you're right now living in Belize currently, right?
Correct.
Okay. I say, so first I want to give my selfish space a little background about what I saw on YouTube and why I invited Chef Ahki Taylor to this podcast today. So I remember I was on YouTube and I just seen this video pop up and it was like, oh, should you move out of America? And it was from Chef Ahki Taylor. And I was like, okay, let me watch this, And I remember when one of my closet things had fallen down. So all my clothes in my closet had fell down. And basically I had to take everything out so they could fix it. And so while I was doing that, I had this playing. And so she was just like, I already knew that Chef Aki had moved to Belize, and I thought that was really amazing. And you guys know I've been thinking about moving to Jamaica. I've been going to Jamaica a lot more frequently. You guys have seen that on my social medias. But when Chef Aki was talking, she just had some really great points, right? And one of the things that she talked about was about having community and about being able to live your life and actually live your life. And there was a wonderful example that she gave, and I talked about this in a recent podcast episode where I mentioned it. And the example that you had given was, let's say you wake up one day and you decide what resin you wanted to burn, but maybe it's frankincense, and maybe you had just finished making love with your partner the night before. And then maybe you invite your girlfriends over and you guys are boiling or cooking some yams for the day. And then maybe you're going to walk down the street and maybe you go to the beach and maybe you pass some neighbors and you have a little chat. And that's your day. And then maybe you have dinner. You know what I'm trying to say? And when she described that, what she described was a full day of living, right? Nowhere in there did she say, I'm going to wake up and go to work, and then I'm going to come home from work, and then I may have 4 to 5 hours to myself or for family time, which is a large majority of Americans' lives. And so when you had gave that detailed description, I said, "Oh, that sounds so beautiful." And you had mentioned that a lot of people, especially in America, don't understand what it means to live. I feel like a lot of Americans are working to live. People have bills to pay. They have the electric bill, they have the home bill, they have, maybe daycare, school bill. And when you have those things covered and you're just simply deciding what you want to do for the day, or maybe you're creating something new, or, you just have more space, more capacity to just decide what you want to do for the day. A lot of Americans don't know what that means. And if they know what that means, it's like usually a once a year vacation. And maybe a once a year vacation, you have 5 to 7 days to do that. And then when you're done, you're back on your 9 to 5 boat. Now, I'm never knocking 9 to 5. People need to have their jobs or whatever, but there are other ways to live. And I think what you did in that beautiful description, Aki, was give people an example of what that could feel like. Literally, I was like, oh, the beach is right there. Oh, my girlfriends are here. I'm cooking some yams today. I'm telling her about what my husband must have been doing last night. Like, I'm just enjoying life. And I feel like a lot of people desire that, but they don't know what that is. And like in America, it's a little harder to have that. I will honestly be honest. I feel like when I'm in Jamaica, it's a lot more easier. Like, people buy the land and they build their homes on the land. And a lot of people are doing more solar powered things. You know what I'm trying to say? Or there was somebody I had went to go visit in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. She had moved back to Jamaica 12 years ago, and she has like this wellness space out there. And she said if the power went out, she could at least go outside, pick a green banana, chop up a coconut with some coconut milk, and she can make some green banana porridge. She can cook something on the fire. Like, she can still survive. Whereas in maybe in America, There's not really any trees that have fruits and vegetables that we can go and pick off, and people are not really making fires to make their meals. So it's like if the power went off, all hell breaks loose. And you mentioned everybody going into the grocery store, buying up all the shit and not knowing what to do with it. And so I just really enjoyed that. And so I want you to explain to our selfish babes, like, I guess where your mindset was when you made that video, and just tell us a little synopsis of the video.
Oh, wow. Well, firstly, thank you so much, Olanike, for having me inside of this type of conversation because this is my favorite conversation. And it's really kind of been the only thing on my mind for the last 4 years since I left US.
Yeah.
I always knew that I would leave. I didn't have a plan. I didn't research Belize when I left. I didn't have a home to stay at. I did not have much money
Yeah.
at all. In fact, I probably was at the lowest low of my life, financially when I left.
Yeah.
And I was a single mother technically, and I want to be careful with that term because his father is extremely active. So,
Yeah.
but
But,
just me,
but we know what you mean. Like you're
I
the
was a
one
single
in the
woman.
house. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
father is wonderful. And so, I left with a 5-year-old. And so, I, firstly want to encourage women that if this is something you're interested in, don't let those be a part of the factors and where you're going to research a place till you get so scared that you never do anything. Don't
Yeah.
do that, okay?
Yeah.
Because you don't know shit until you get there. That's the truth. Um, but I I have been on a mission, and that video was, really about the roots of how I feel about the psychological benefits, the spiritual benefits, the financial benefits of leaving the US. And there's we're going to unpack a lot in this conversation. I know you
Yeah.
do that, right? So just to start simply, my mentality in creating that video was that I had kind of held back a lot of what I had been wanting to say to Black Americans,
Yeah.
my followers, about expatriation. Um, but the root of my feelings are really kind of rooted in my philosophy overall about the state of Black people globally,
Yeah.
and particularly in the US, because those are my roots in Oklahoma City, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia. And as you stated, we saw all through COVID how people respond through catastrophe.
Yeah.
We saw how people whole personalities change because of fear
Yeah.
and how gullible they can be.
Yeah.
And we also know that the moment that we lose, Americans lose their access to their pharmaceutical drugs, their Starbucks, their McDonald's, their favorite kind of coffee creamer at the grocery store or what have you, they spaz out.
Yeah.
And what they have is toilet paper and bullets. And
Okay.
so the mental health of Americans, based on how domesticated they have become, how entitled and privileged they have become, and
Mm.
they've lost so many of their skills. We don't have workshop, wood shop anymore. We don't have homemaking anymore. So the survival skills and the mentality of an American citizen versus someone in Jamaica or the Caribbean,
Yeah.
if there be a catastrophe, an IT shutdown, a lockdown, a outbreak, any of those things, it's going to be a night and day experience, because in my
Yeah.
neighborhood in Gorda, Belize, we have power outages at least twice a month.
Yeah.
And when it happens, everybody lights a candle, goes outside, lights a spliff, and it has a good time.
Yeah.
They just said this is an opportunity for me to make love to my lady and keep it pushing. They literally you can hear it in the neighborhood. The lights go up. People are like, oh, okay, let us flip, and
Yeah.
nobody gives a shit. Whereas
Yeah.
Americans would literally be panicking because they can't have access to Minecraft video game or Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah.
So, oh,
Yeah.
Fortnite game. So
Yeah.
leaving for security and safety on many levels for me has been the biggest lesson and beauty in the experience. My mother
Yeah.
is here right now, Olanike, visiting
Oh, yay.
from Oklahoma. She'll be here for 3 weeks, and she brought my
Is this her
son.
first time?
second time.
Okay, okay.
She loves it so much, and she's like, "Oh my God, I want to retire here."
Yeah,
And she said, I've been taking her walking by the ocean every day. We just go for a walk. And she
yeah,
was like, I can't believe how every single person says hello. She
yeah,
was like, you'll be exhausted from saying hello, good afternoon, afternoon to everyone you pass.
yeah,
People, that's just how they are here. And
yeah,
my son can ride his bike 2 miles out where I can't see him and go explore the entire town, and I never worry.
yeah.
That
Oh,
can I
that's
could
so
never
sweet.
do that in the US. He
Yeah,
feels that sense of freedom. He wants to come here so he can ride his bike and have full freedom in the neighborhood.
yeah,
So I could never do that in Atlanta. I would be too afraid that someone would snatch him, because they
yeah,
will.
yeah,
Okay. They would sell
yeah.
him and his organs.
Oh my God.
Oh, listen,
Hey, that shit is real though.
just real shit, right? And so this is a conversation that most people will say, well, Aki, everybody can't afford to move like you. And I
Hmm.
say, you can't afford to live there.
Yeah,
That's what you need to be thinking about, because when we talk about the story that you gave about what it looks like to
yeah,
learn how to live again,
yeah,
I've forgotten because we work to live.
yeah.
So if we're talking about living and quality of life, if you're in the States, you believe you can't afford to leave. So you're spending 3 grand a month just on fucking rent for a 2 bedroom.
If you're spending 3 grand a month, you can afford to leave.
Listen, 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 black,
Okay, you
black,
can.
you can. Now, you are your car note, your insurance, your rent, your electricity, your gas, da 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 da. All these bills and stuff. Go girl. My mom went walking. And so
Oh,
all these bills, you you never get the opportunity to really plan for a move. You never get the opportunity to plan for much of anything, in fact, and you don't have the time to do, as we said, go and cook yams with your sisters, take a
yeah,
walk by the river, make love to your man, sit with your children through the day, and just experience that feeling of relief, because the land that you're sitting on, you own. The rent you're paying, I pay like 700 USD a month. I have a
wow.
full bedroom that's fully furnished, flat screen TVs in every room with a
Can you
separate
repeat how many rooms you have in your house, Aki? For $700.
4.5. Okay.
Wow. Wow,
My
y'all.
Yes, my office is as big as a bedroom. But yeah, and so, this is and the ocean's right downstairs, the mountains are right in front of me. But
Wow.
this the quality of life, and here having house help is also very normal, as you
Just
know.
like in Jamaica,
Yeah,
yes.
that's expected. So
Yes.
for maybe 100 USD a week, someone's doing all the cooking and cleaning, period, point blank. You're not doing
Yeah.
any of that. So when I get home from trips, she's gonna unload my bags. She's gonna fold my
She's
clothes. She's gonna wash my.
yes.
I don't. When I come to my office in the morning, she brings my tea. I don't do
Yes.
any of that. So
Yes.
the quality of life, people say, oh, don't you feel isolated? Don't you feel lonely? Don't you feel that? Baby, please. I
Yeah.
don't, I know I've been a social girl my whole life. So
Yeah.
trust me, I need the down time. I need the break. I need the focus,
Yeah.
the lack of distraction, so that I can tap into what actually matters. So that was the spirit overall of just encouraging people to
Yeah.
rethink their mentalities about what the plan is, where they are,
Yeah.
and why wouldn't they consider expatriation.
What made you consider Belize as a spot, right? Because for me, I'm like considering Jamaica, but I have roots in Jamaica. I've been traveling a lot more to Jamaica because I want to know how it would feel to live there. Like I stayed there for 30 days, 1 month, because I'm like, well, how would this feel? Would I like this? And there's pros and cons, you know. And so what made you
Mhm.
choose Belize specifically?
Oh, girl, there's truly pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
I told my mother, I don't feel like everybody could do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's many cons, but for me, they don't outweigh the pros. So Belize, I chose because it was a 2.5 hour flight from Atlanta.
Yeah.
I chose it because it was English speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I chose it because I knew two elders, master herbalists, who lived here, and they were preppers,
Yeah.
you know, which I consider myself a prepper for sure.
What's
And
a
I
prepper?
So a prepper, guys, is someone who is basically collecting goods, information to prepare for potential global catastrophe, whether
Yeah.
that's Armageddon apocalypse, who knows?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so just preparing to be completely self-sustainable, self-reliant,
Yeah.
and I'm not an overthinker. I just kind of go with what's in front of me. I feel like God is opening doors when he has something kind of just sitting right there. He, she, hello, sitting right there in front of you. And in my case, COVID hit. I had a dream the night before it hit. I saw it. I saw everything. I saw martial law people telling us you can't go outside. They were literally
Mm.
at my doorstep. They were at my neighbor's doorstep. I remember the clothes. I remember their
Mm.
faces. I saw it very clear. I woke
Yeah.
up the next morning. I said, husband, I'm going to take the baby to get a passport. We got to get up out of here. Out. He was like, what do you mean? Like when? I was like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
He was like, we're leaving tomorrow. We're leaving tomorrow. And he was like, okay. And he
Yeah.
was down. And I literally went to the passport office and got a same day passport for my child. I had no flight out. I had no social security card. I had nothing.
Yeah.
They were looking at me crazy, sister. But we believe we can do anything,
I
right?
say,
And
yeah.
so they were like, they looked at me and were like, girl, go sit down. And they just gave it to me. So
Okay.
it happened. And I actually went to Hawaii first.
Okay.
I stayed there through the
Oh
whole lockdown.
yeah, I
Remember
remember you were in Hawaii.
yeah, for like 3 months and through the whole lockdown. And then as soon as that they lifted the Atlanta lockdown,
Yeah.
I flew back in and packed my shit up and I went
Okay.
straight to Belize.
Okay.
Mm.
There's so much in that. Because like even you having the dream, like on the Selfish Babe podcast, we talk about spirituality as well and just being connected. And like even you just having a dream about what's to happen. And a lot of people are gifted in that way where they're in tune with their spirits or their spirits are communicating through their dreams, right? So for you, I guess I know some of my selfish babes would be like, well, if I had a dream like that, I don't know if I would have did that. What
Mhm.
makes you feel so connected to your dreams that you know that I need, like, this is the answer, I need to go. And I know this is not the right way for everybody, but I want my selfish babes to understand like how your dream kind of motivated you to move, where somebody may have had a similar dream and they would have been like, oh, that's just a dream. You know what I'm trying to say? The difference between that.
Absolutely. That's a great question, sister.
Mhm.
You know, I think this is one of those things where things are evidenced through time and tested and tried, right?
Yeah.
And I'm over 40 and this is something that I'm a Pisces too. So
Mm.
this is something that I've been just working with for a long time. And not even something like consciously like I believe I have some special psychic dream powers or anything. Like
Yeah.
I'm not that girl. You'll never even hear me speak that way.
Yeah.
I won't say that I've done any specific work to even cultivate these types of gifts. I
Yeah.
am that girl. I don't even know if I believe I have any gifts in that space at all. I can only say that I had a fucking dream,
Yeah.
and that I've had many through my life,
Yeah.
and that when I do, I just I know I just know what I know, and it's
Mm.
happened so many times through
Mm.
my life. I won't even say frequently, but frequently enough
Yeah.
where I woke up and was like, oh shit, I just felt the truth of this dream. And
Yeah.
so to even give like any form of like antidote or advice to a sister about believing in her dreams and following through with her dream, I would say that it's something that she would have to say to herself, when have I had a dream that I ignored and shit
Mm.
did not turn out sweet for me? You
Mm.
think about when you had a strong intuitive feeling about a person or a situation that you ignored and it
Yeah.
didn't turn out sweet.
Yeah.
So you may want to try to start to pay attention, dream journal, and look at
Yeah.
things like that. So in my life, I've had situations where I ignored my deep intuition and it shit was horrible. And
Yeah.
so I think I got my ass tapped enough to trust myself over time.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah. And let me know how you feel about this question. So, there are ups and downs in businesses, and I've learned this as being a business for like 9 years now. And you had mentioned that when you moved to Belize, you weren't in the best place financially.
Mm.
But from looking in and from one looking out, not knowing your personal business, one would think, oh, she's okay. You know what I'm trying to say? So do you mind touching on that a little bit? Because I want to touch on that too. So I don't know how you feel about it. You don't gotta go over all the details, but it's just like, some people's like, well, how does that happen?
Yeah, yeah. It was bad, sis.
Hmm.
It was real bad.
Yeah.
Um, it was real bad. I think that everybody was having whatever their COVID pivots and all the things. Some people, their shit soared, some people
Yeah.
not so much. It just kind of depended on where you landed in the
That's
mix of it
true.
all. It was an interesting space.
Yeah.
For me, it was this huge boom of business like that first year. And then I guess everybody spent their Trump checks or whatever, I don't know, and things just kind of went downhill.
Yeah.
So, or so it seemed. So I
Hmm.
was observing this
Hmm.
and I thought, whoa, the whole economy is like crashing or something because I'm making half of what I'm used to making. And then the next year got worse.
Yeah.
And, I'm the type of person, if I don't have $100,000 in my account, we got a fucking problem. If I
Yeah.
don't have $50,000 in my account, we got a real motherfucking problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so forth and so on into destruction.
Yeah.
Um, so so once it got bad, uh,
Yeah.
if we're going off that parameter, it got way beyond that and really bad.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I never thought I can't afford to keep living here. My goal was that I'm leaving no matter what because I feel like these people are about to mandate vaccinations.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seemed like a big
I
thing.
mean, they did at some point for some people in certain work sectors,
Yes,
they couldn't keep their job unless they got a vaccine.
that's a fact. So they certainly force-fed vaccines to people.
Yeah.
Um, that 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 scared me.
Yeah.
That put the feeling in me of I must get out of here under all circumstances because I will never let this happen to me. It'll be over my dead body, me and my child. I'm not having it.
Yeah.
So that was what really kind of forced me to make the ultimate move.
Yeah.
And sis, when I tell you, when I got here, I was here for about 2 weeks and I was in a bed and breakfast. I found a rental home that I liked. I used like the last of my money getting into it. And I kept getting an email from Stripe. And I have several Stripe accounts. And it was like, oh, you need to verify something with your accounts going on with your account. And I was just like, why do I keep getting this message? This doesn't make sense. Everything's fine in my account. And I log in and I do the things, whatever it asked me to do on this day. I had literally been ignoring this message for probably a month. Girl, why did soon as I did the things like, oh, thank you for verification, your funds will be released now.
Yes, ma'am. Extra
What?
money ain't no doubt in my bank
And
account.
it was like thousands and thousands of dollars. I was like,
I say,
what? I woke up to like 80 grand. I was like,
I
what? What is this
say,
money? So it was a delusion.
yeah,
I had money. I just didn't know. I was
yeah.
so this is a beautiful story that I love to share because I still can't believe the shit. You know what I mean?
Should be coming right on time though. Should be coming right. No, because that was planned for you, Aki.
Yes,
That was
yes.
planned for you.
Listen, money don't never come late. They say that around Belize. That's their thing. Money never come late.
I
And
say,
that's the mentality here because I've taken a taxi where I was like, oh shit, I don't have no more cash and the ATM machine's down. And they're like, it's fine. Money never come late.
hmm.
So get me when you see me.
True, that don't be happening in America like
It
that.
would never happen. I've gone to get groceries and the ATM was down and I'm like, oh shit, I'm short on cash. They're like, money never come late. Give me my whole $100 worth of groceries. This is normal here.
Wow.
That would never, ever happen.
Yeah. All right. So, in terms of the pros of Belize, okay, fresh air, fresh water, like people are saying hi to you, all those things. Like, obviously, your mental wellness is going to increase when you're there, right? I would just assume that, especially being around so much nature.
Yes, for sure.
So, have been some of the cons?
Oof. Okay. Cons have been, there's no Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't just order things and have them delivered when you want. It just doesn't work like that. There
Yeah.
is no movie theater. There's no shopping mall. There's no Walmart. There's no none
Yeah.
of Target to go get my honey pot right quick.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
none of that going on. There's a lot of lack of development, I guess. It's underdeveloped. The roads sometimes are tragic.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like dirt roads and dust, and
Yeah.
that dust gets in your house,
Yeah.
you're constantly mopping and sweeping. I'm right next to the ocean and it's very hot. So that creates a level of moisture in the home that melts
Mm.
all your shit,
Okay.
it makes my spices melt. It makes
Okay.
my spices will go bad more quickly. I have to do certain things to keep everything, that means there's critters. The
Yeah.
geckos live with you. You know how it is. They're pooping, they're doing their thing. It doesn't matter where you live, how nice your crib is, the geckos live in your house. You know,
Okay.
the ants come during the rainy season and they are on the fucking attack.
Do y'all
Um,
have mosquitoes?
oh, baby, the mosquitoes don't give a damn about nothing. Baby, the mosquitoes don't get you are food. You need to know that in the story. And if you don't want to be food, you better come ready. That's it. And so,
Okay.
it's the jungle. People created a town in the middle of the jungle, and
Yeah.
that's the reality, and I hear a lot of people like myself even, oh, nature, nature, nature. Yes, we love the nature and all the things.
Yeah.
We want to be in a cocoon in the nature, protect
Yeah.
the cocoon inside of nature,
Exactly.
and it's just not realistic. I did a video recently where I was walking towards this grandiose tree, and everybody in the comments was like, next time, take your shoes off and feel the nature, the energy, and get grounded. Da, 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 da. And I was like, you motherfuckers don't understand that there's so many spiders and ants down here that will fuck you up in this grass. There's snakes kicking it over here. Y'all, like it looks all dreamy in your mind, but you're not here. I'm telling you, the snakes is over here.
Hmm.
So they're like, oh yeah, I would just go to sleep there. No, you won't. No, you won't.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's, the cons are, not necessarily cons, but for many people, they are intolerable. If you go to a restaurant here, there's no all vegan restaurant here. These people are
Yeah.
not using the local coconuts to make coconut cheese. It ain't happening. They're just not
Okay.
there, nor do they have the machinery to do it, because that
You
machine.
had mentioned that in your video.
Yeah, yeah, the machinery costs cash money. So I was saying in the video, these people are cash poor, asset rich.
Yeah.
So that is a con, because you don't get some of those same, especially as a plant-based person, the
Yeah.
luxuries of the vegan ice cream and da da da,
Yeah.
vegan soy meat cheese, da 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 da. They
Yeah.
got all of that. You got to create that on your own. So it is a con. I think that there is a feeling for an American where you feel a certain level of privilege and entitlement that you have to really bring in and ground, because you don't want to appear like you have things when the people around you have little to nothing.
Yeah.
And that is difficult, because my son may have friends that he wants to come hang out at our place. And
Yeah.
when they get here, those kids may live in a wooden shack.
Yeah.
They get to my house and they're like, can I have this? I'm like, no, you cannot. You
Hmm.
can't have my speaker. You can't
Yeah.
have my headphones. I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
cannot. And
Yeah.
so creating boundaries with people that I know don't have much. I gave away a whole laptop, Mac, Apple to somebody. My heart is just like, I just want to give people everything, but I can't.
Yeah.
So that is a thing, that you have to kind of work out inside of yourself. There are cons with you got to pay to be here, to get your citizenship and your residency.
Yeah.
It's all a process. In order to get my residency here, I would have to be here for a full year without leaving for more than 14 days.
Okay. Wow.
Otherwise, I have to pay 100 USD a month just to live here.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
What about men, safety, and women? So we're going to start with men. How are the men there?
nada. It's a no.
No.
It's an absolutely not.
The reason I asked was in Jamaica, there's great men, but there's also men that stare too much and that's overly or just overly up in your business. I don't like that. There are great men though, but there are those kind of men that just make you feel uncomfortable, and I don't like it. That's what I was asking.
What do you mean by uncomfortable? Like,
Like, let's say I'm just sitting and I'm enjoying some music, and then there's a guy down the way, and he's staring at me like this. And I'm now looking at him and he's still staring at me like this. And then when I say, "What you staring at?" Oh, he'd be like, "Oh, you just look so beautiful." Oh, well, thank you, but you don't have to stare at me like that.
mm-hmm,
And now we're in a conversation and then they don't understand what they're doing wrong. But it
mm,
makes me feel uncomfortable. Or like
yo,
I'm out getting some food off the road, side of the road. I'm in the line And then there's this guy behind me from the country, and just saying stuff about your beauty, which is great, but it's also inappropriate. It's not just, oh, you're so beautiful. There's more to that. I just can't think of it right now,
Yeah,
but that
yeah,
makes you feel uncomfortable. And so
yeah.
in certain parts of Jamaica, I would never walk by myself in
Yes.
certain parts of Jamaica. You just don't. Like there's certain
Yeah,
neighborhoods that we consider like they call it like uptown, upper class neighborhoods. You could
yeah,
probably do that a little bit, but don't do it every day. Like you don't let people know your routine in that way. If I was
yeah,
in the country in Jamaica, like maybe St. Mary, it's okay. It so just depends on where you're at, right? So in the country
yeah.
area, it's fine. But sometimes, like I said, in Jamaica, I don't like some men and the mosquitoes. Those are the two things I do not like.
Girl, that's a big, big one because the culture is different, right? With the men, it's like I can already hear how this brother's probably it being inappropriate with you. Like, oh, she's so pretty, Empress, her body look nice.
See,
Ooh,
I
ooh,
don't mind the Empress thing. That's great, but it's when it just becomes weird. Like,
they
do you
go too
stare me
far.
down?
They go too far. Like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, wait. Oh, my baby, your body look nice. Oh. Like they be doing too much. Now, here's the thing. I
Yes.
had the same experience, like a Caribbean brother here. He was selling like coconuts and sea moss downstairs. So I will always buy from him. And eventually there was a moment where like I was doing a podcast and I was like, I'm really busy, but I want my coconuts. Just bring them on upstairs and drop them in my fridge. So he comes up. So now he's in my home. He does his thing. He leaves. Everything is cool. And so now over time, he starts to get comfortable and he walked in my house without permission. He was like, well, I called you several times. And I was like, yes. And I was
Obviously, I'm
back in
busy.
the shower. And he was like, well, what if something was wrong? And nobody can walk in your house and you could have had a problem. I said, I don't give a damn what's going on. If you can't reach me, what the situation, never walk in my house
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
never, you
Yeah.
know. And so there's I noticed some of the liberties he would take. It felt like a cultural misunderstanding. And even in speaking, I could tell like if we the overstepping your welcome, I think is the thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like I may have even offered him something that I had cooked. I cooked a lot. I don't want the rest. Here's
Yeah.
some food. I'm on my patio. I'm smoking a spliff. You're welcome to smoke with me and have a bite. We're
Yeah.
neighbors, being cool. So he's enjoying that. And then I'm like, all right, I'm headed to bed. And then he's still lingering and lingering, that kind of
Good
thing.
night, sir.
Good night. Bye-bye. Like, and I had to like say, well, I'm walking you to the door now, because
Yeah.
I said several times good night and you're not good nighting. So, I need to like I've had to be, and I asked him, I said, are you as Caribbean men? I said, are y'all not used to women like being assertive and like really setting boundaries? Is that not normal for you? Because I said, every time I do it, you seem to be uncomfortable. And I'm
Yeah.
not rude or anything. I'm just telling you what I need. I'm going to bed. I don't want
Exactly.
nobody here. And he was like, yeah, you women don't need no man. Y'all don't need no man. And he went into that space. And I was like, hmm,
Rose eyes.
interesting, like he's like,
Hmm.
basically, y'all got it all figured out. You don't need nobody. And I said, I would never date you ever. I
Yeah.
was like, I love men and I do need a man. I'm not interested in dating you at all. Ever,
Exactly.
never. And I had
Yes.
really made that clear. And that's when he was just like, yeah, well, I got an old lady. Oh, now you got a lady the whole time.
Crazy. But you wasn't over her house though. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
So men are a no, sister. Safety is absolutely. I've never felt more safe.
Okay.
I've never felt more safe than I do here. And some of that I
Okay.
think is because it's such a small town. This whole country is the size of Marietta, Georgia, if you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
That's the
Wow.
population, about 400,000
Okay.
roughly. So it's just so everyone here is related, damn
Yeah.
near.
Yeah.
So for example, if I got pulled over for, an expired tag on my scooter,
Yeah.
then the officer one time he was like, oh, that's Miss Janine's tenant. That's my cousin's tenant. Like, oh, let her pass. Or like, oh,
Yeah.
That's my niece is her housekeeper. My little pass.
Yeah.
It's so tight like that that it's like
Yeah.
family. Like nobody's really tripping. They don't give a shit. They
Okay.
don't get paid for that. So
Okay. I
it's
like
different
that.
that way. And for example, I took my son to a school here, trying out education, ladies, for my baby. Okay, I'm trying out different things here.
Yeah.
And I know this like COVID was all this virtual, and then there's all these options. And so I said, I really want my son to go to a school. And I took him to school. The principal sat down, I did the application. She said it'll be 200 Belizean dollars for the whole year. That's $100 USD. I paid 1,500 a month USD for my son to go to school in America.
Wow. That
For
is so low.
all Black private school, Imhotep Academy in Atlanta.
Oh,
My son also
wow.
Quilombo African Cultural Institute in Atlanta. So I've
Yeah.
always kept him in like very high level schools, but 1,500 USD a month to 100 a year, I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And the principal said, well, we get out of school at, 2, 3 p.m. And I said, well, I'm still very busy in my work day at that time. Man, I hate that. Whereas my son was in school till 6 p.m., girl. And
Yeah.
so she said, oh, well, that's fine. I'll take him home and feed him, and you just pick him up when you're ready.
That's nice. Wow.
The principal,
That is so sweet.
unheard of. She was like, and I'll
Yeah.
drop him off. She even offered to drop him off. She dropped him off before. I was like, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
You
That's
know,
definitely
so
different.
it's just, listen, if I had it my way, sister, and my
Yeah.
greatest vision, and
Yeah.
I talked about this in the video, is to recreate this with us.
Yeah.
Jamaica's got their thing, Belizeans have their thing, Africans have their thing, etc. Black Americans are just like this remnants of slavery and colonization.
Yeah.
It's almost like a stepchild that America can't get rid of because
Mm.
he created us. So
Yeah.
here we are, so they just want to take us out and starve us to death and kill us every chance they get, but they can't get rid of us. So we're all just kind of there lingering, hoping we can vote our way out of this situation.
Yeah.
And it's we're in a bit of a mess.
Mm.
So from my perspective and my radical activist mentality is we got to create a whole new paradigm,
Yeah.
right? And people say, well, moving out isn't the thing because America is my land and my ancestors built this, do. I hear you. I'm from Oklahoma. My family built Black Wall Street. I get it.
Yeah.
But how's it working out for us though?
Yeah.
So
When you mentioned the principal just even offering that, I had thought about how sometimes we even have to like, I don't know what the right word is, but I want to use decolonizing, but like being able to trust that. Like in a like just being able to trust that like, oh wow, this is a nice offer. Am I actually gonna take it and am I actually gonna use it? Because in my mind, my defenses would be up. Like, I don't know if I can trust that, but I'm really grateful that she did offer. But then over time, maybe I would trust that. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I would still I feel like sometimes like when you're not used to people offering stuff or being nice, you have your guard up and you're like, when they are, you're like, can I trust this? I don't know.
yes,
That's always my first
yes,
thought.
yes. What's your zodiac?
I'm an Aquarius, rising Leo, moon, and Sag.
Got it. Makes perfect sense. I have a girlfriend here. She feels the same way. We come across things together here often. She moved here from Texas. She has an 11-year-old, and
Nice.
I've seen people offer things to her. Then I'm like, oh, that's right on time. And she's just like, well, I don't know everybody, so I can't trust this or I can't trust that. And she's moving in that direction where I'm like, woo. And I
Yeah.
really think that this is just a part of my nature, but I
Yeah.
do think that there is some overall decolonizing that has to happen because as we talked about with what it feels like to live, what
Yeah.
it means to actually rest in trust with those in your community,
Yeah.
um, that is true life and true living.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's what we all desire most, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
actually be able to trust and lean into the village,
Yeah.
our needs. And it does take some untangling and some healing of some of
Yeah.
those traumas when it comes to trusting people.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think even more than that, I personally, Olanike, am the kind of spirit that I believe that the universe is always conspiring to support.
Ashe.
I
Yeah.
just believe that shit. Like I believe it so much that it probably looks crazy and silly, but it works for me.
Yeah. Ashe.
And I can't assume that it would work for anyone else.
Yeah.
But I take I love to swim the ocean. I'm the kind of girl that I will go to any boat, jump off the middle of the ocean anywhere, anytime. I don't care what waters, I don't care where it
Yeah.
is. I'm looking at the water like, woo, it's time to jump. That is my personality. I know people that can't float in water. They don't want to swim in random ocean waters. It's not who they are. There's a fear there. In my mind, whereas what, 80% water on this planet, our bodies are 80% water. If I fear the water, which is the unknown, because that's
Yeah.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
unknown, then I fear living at all. So
Hmm.
I'm really it's truly a part of my Piscean intuitive character that I
Yeah.
feel like I can sense good people. I can
Yeah.
sense character. I feel very strong in being able to sense the spirit of a person,
Hmm.
even if they're imperfect, as most people are.
Yeah.
I've rarely met people that I felt like, wow, you were just all good. Uh,
Yeah.
it happens, but
Yeah.
even if they're not, it's okay, nor am I. It's just a matter of what I can trust about you. And
Yes.
I can feel that intuitively with people.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that.
And it may take some practice. And I think over time, as people start to, um, eh, migrate to other countries and sink in with other people's cultures and see how their values align, it would make it much easier.
Yeah. And then I was going to ask you the woman. So I'm thinking about community. I'm thinking about sisterhood whenever I'm moving somewhere. And so how has that journey been for you in Belize?
It's been an interesting journey. I've had a few sisters here that I met, maybe 4 or 5, that I just felt like, damn, you're a dope ass chick.
Yeah.
I wish I knew you my whole life, you
Yeah.
know. The women that I've met here specifically, I met a sister who had moved here from Cali, and she's like a head of the board of like the women in the Women's Sea Moss Society.
Oh,
And
wow.
they're like, or they've got all this sea moss they're collecting and managing from all over all these, protected waters here,
Yeah.
and trying to use them to develop products to help to support women here in Belize. I
Wow.
love that. I'm with that.
Yeah.
Uh, I met a sister here who was like a master gardener. She comes back and forth from here in the States. She's Belizean, but
Yeah.
she's a master gardener. The lady who owns the home that I'm in that won't sell it to me, she born Belizean, Black Belizean, and she owns properties from here to Florida. She's a
Wow.
badass. She's so brilliant. She's a badass, and I think that there's this assumption that like Caribbean people aren't so smart or resourceful or some
Hmm.
shit. And that just wasn't the case for me. I've been very humbled, in fact,
Yeah.
with the type of women that I've met. When I took my son to school here, I looked at the test scores and some of the work, the actual notebooks of the kids here, and
Yeah.
they were soaring above my son in academics,
Yeah.
reading, comprehension, and writing. Like
Wow.
they were soaring above him. Why? Because they're not on the iPad every day. They're not on the iPhone and YouTube,
Yeah.
all things. So there's I've been really, really impressed with the women that I've met here. I can't think of one bad situation that I've had with women here outside of a Black American woman who's been living here for a while
Yeah.
and giving me all kind of attitude and vibes and just being weird.
Yeah.
But, like literally, that's it. But the Belizean sisters,
Yeah.
I felt like I had a sister who she was kind of feeling my man that I was engaged to 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they met, they got cool. He thought she was a nice young lady. I knew she was kind of feeling him. I said, invite her over.
Yeah.
She comes to the house, she walks in with a plant for me.
Aw.
You
That's
know,
sweet.
you know that. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, and I just like her energy in like if outside of him, I was like, I like her.
Yeah.
Like I would
Yeah.
be cool with her just based off of her core ethics and principles is just like dope. I had a nail tech here who was having some things going on with her shop. wasn't available.
Yeah.
And she referred me to her girlfriend who has a nail shop closer to my house. She could have lost my business forever
Yeah.
because it's more convenient for me to go to her friend.
Yeah.
But she didn't hold back on giving me that information.
Yeah.
And because of that,
Yeah.
I'm going to still go back to her and continue to be loyal to her. So
Yeah.
it's just I have so many stories that
Wow.
I could share about that kind of relating with women.
Yeah.
I haven't built the kind of bonds that a lot of the women that I've met, they're not like right inside of my neighborhood per se. They're kind of in some of the outskirts of my neighborhood.
Yeah.
We haven't got to really connect. And I travel a lot too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know that, although I live here every 2, 3 months, I'm in the air. So
Yeah.
that, it can create people like, oh, you're probably not even here. So sometimes they don't reach out to me because they're like, she's not,
Mm.
they
Yeah.
just that I'm not here. But my housekeeper, for example, young Belizean sister,
Yeah.
she, um, oh my God, even when I'm not here, she'll come in my home, she'll water the plants.
Yeah.
Oh, she'll just take care of the business for me, doing things
Yeah.
that I don't even think of. And it's just really beautiful.
I like that because I know one thing that you had mentioned was just a sense of community and
Mhm.
how I had mentioned this earlier and I want to talk about this, how a lot of times we're so focused on romantic relationships.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with finding a boo. I think that's amazing. Have your divine partnerships. But sometimes we forget about like the friendships or the sisterhoods or like the people that may outlive our romantic partnerships, maybe. Sometimes people are in and out of our lives romantically, whereas you may have sister friends that are there for a lifetime. And I know that was something that you had mentioned, and I kind of enjoyed listening to that. So let's touch on that a little bit.
Absolutely. That's a big deal to me. Sisterhood is huge for me.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I've been practicing sisterhood for 25 years. It may be longer because I have a sister who was always in my home, in my bedroom, all through my life.
Yeah.
And so, and it was the perfect practice because not only is she a Scorpio, but we have different fathers. So she's your complexion, your
Yeah. Oh,
aesthetic,
nice.
we don't look alike at all. A lot of
Yeah.
people, we have different last names, so people wouldn't assume that we were even relatives. So just
Yeah.
having to work on all those dynamics and differences was really hard.
Yeah.
So, but I never gave up on how important and valuable sisterhood is. And a lot of the sisters in my life, I got a deep tribe. I ain't gonna lie. I got a tribe from here to France to, yeah, every part of US to Africa.
Yeah.
I got tribes. So, and I cultivate my tribe real, real strong. And even the sisters that do my retreats, we like each other a lot. We in
Yeah.
love. We want to keep doing stuff together all the time. We're going to Morocco at the end of August.
Nice.
So, it's sisterhood is deeply important to me, and I love love. I love being booed up. I still want to get married to have another child, in fact. And
Yeah.
and I probably will. And
Yeah.
and I want that. I love that. I believe in that. But I could never trade my sisterships for any man or for anything. And they have outlived everyone. They've
Mm.
outlived all my relationships. That's just been my truth. And so they've saved my life. They've saved my life.
Wow.
And I think that women who struggle with um, building bonds, long-term friendships with women, they tend to frighten me a little bit,
Mm.
because I feel like there's some really deeper rooted issues that need to be addressed there.
Yeah.
And and you're really missing out on the most valuable part of life, is that type of bond, because you can be your full authentic self, whereas with your husband there's so many parts of your shadows that you want to hide. You don't want to be
Mhm.
judged, you don't want to be seen in all those ways. It's really difficult, and the truth is I don't even think they're supposed to see all those things. We are
Mm.
not the same. um
Mm.
and if you listen to the aunties, that's what they gonna tell you. Stop trying to make these men your damn bestie and shit.
Yeah.
There to do what he's there to do. Let him do it. Let him be a
Yeah.
man and be your
Yeah.
man. And lean into your sisterhood for
Yeah.
all the other shit. Stop it. Stop trying to make them your bestie, because he doesn't have the capacity, and you're gonna get frustrated.
Mm.
You're gonna get frustrated, and you did it to yourself because he can't. He can't do it. He's like, okay, which part of this do you need me to fix? Where's the remote? Like he can't do it. And he may
Yeah.
try, but so
Funny.
I don't put that kind of pressure on men. I want men to do what they do well,
Yeah.
fix shit, lay pipe, and pick up heavy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, do the math problems that I can't figure out, pick up the weapon when need be. And
Yes.
I like that. I love that. In fact,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
I'm good. I got sisterhood for everything else.
I love that. And I have another question. So there was at one point, I had transitioned my business from Goddess Detox, and I was just really not as much focused on my business anymore, really. I was forced to focus on other areas of my life. And I had made a video where I was just talking about like I just don't really have set goals anymore. There was a time where I had a lot of goals, a lot of things that I wanted to do. And I said the only goal that I really wanted to have was just to enjoy life, to live, to have fun. That's really what I wanted, and I've been doing that this year. And that's been very, very eye-opening for me in the best way possible. I've had so many beautiful experiences. And even now I had said that, I don't want to be a CEO anymore. I just want to be a goddess. Like that's just what I want to do. Yeah, I'll still sell things to people. I'll still do the things, but it's not just like CEO, I just want to be a goddess living in this world. And so, yeah, that's given me a lot of time for myself and to look at other areas of my life and actually have profound insights in other areas of my life where once maybe I didn't really care much about and now I do. And so when you talked about living, coming from somebody that, has multiple different streams of income and has been a businesswoman as well, I guess what are some insights you've developed in your time in Belize from just living, you know?
That's a wonderful question. I really relate to you in that space because I never wanted to be a businesswoman ever.
Mm,
That was never a goal of mine
yeah,
to be a business owner, CEO.
yeah,
Uh, and I think if a lot of us really thought about it, we would say, as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, was that our dream?
yeah,
No,
yeah,
you know? And
yeah,
so most of us have done it because what choice do we have? Most of us, our parents didn't leave us with
yeah,
um, anything. So we had to figure it out.
yeah,
And unless you've been fortunate to mate with someone who kind of takes care of all your needs, you got to figure it out. And if you're an independent thinker like us,
yeah,
then that's the entrepreneur's path, and it's hard fucking work, and you know that.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of sitting at the computer, which we now know creates fibroids, just sitting all damn day.
Oh, wow.
There's no blood flow in sitting position. Sitting in a chair,
Mm,
it's not anything African people ever did. Sit in a chair all day. That is
mm,
literally against the flow of your chi.
wow.
And it's cutting it off. So, not to mention the convenience lifestyle that comes from CEO entrepreneurship, because now you're ordering Uber Eats all day, every day. You ain't
Yeah,
cooking. You don't want to do dishes. You don't want to be bothered.
yeah,
And so the lifestyle of the CEO boss girl is literally, is intrinsically toxic to the
mm,
goddess.
mm,
So, finding a way to be this, feminine boss, right?
yeah,
It's no joke. It's not easy,
yeah,
particularly when you start to try to mate. And
mm,
I know you know what I'm talking about. Uh,
yeah,
so for me, it has been managing different streams of income. Um, it's been a combination of I cut my expenses down past half, okay, of
yeah,
what I'm spending. That being here, cutting my expenses down so much gave me the freedom
mm,
to live more of a lifestyle that I felt was aligned inside of my goddessness, where I can wake up and choose the day. I
yeah,
don't feel the same level of pressures to produce the way
yeah,
that I did before, um, because I just don't have to make that much money to live. Whereas if I'm
yeah,
not making at least 20 grand a month in Atlanta, I ain't gonna have the kind of lifestyle that I enjoy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right. And so that's the first thing, is I just cut my expenses so much. So
mm,
I don't need as much to be okay.
yeah,
The first thing. The second thing, um, I would say would be not having the distractions. I don't have to go to every goddamn girl brunch, baby shower. Come on, Atlanta,
Yeah.
your ass out. It's it's just the not having the expectation and distraction that I was used to
Yeah.
has helped me tremendously to kind of sit back and witness my life as a CEO and decide now what best aligns, what I can do away with, what doesn't work anymore, and start to play with that a little bit more. Um, I did have to set up certain provisions, being that I am here and I do run a online e-store. I had
Yeah.
to have, my distribution comes out of Houston. I have distro that comes out of printing that comes out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So, I had to have things automated in the States,
Yes.
and flowing so
Yes.
that I could just be here kind of operating it from here. And this is what I see white folks do all the time here in Belize. There's a lot of Canadians and Europeans here who they are remote CEOs. They are
Yes.
their companies from the beach. And
Yeah.
so, becoming like, I guess, a digital nomad,
Yeah.
that's the wave. And it really is a gift that Black Americans have, and that we're in this new technical reality. Whereas the person that lives here, they probably don't even have the technology
Yeah.
nor or the know-how. Whereas the Black American right now, you know how to run your shit, you know how to do your digital business, you understand how to connect with distribution, et cetera, and run those streams remotely. Use that as a fucking gift, and your passport can go wherever because you're an American
Yes. That
citizen.
part. That
that
part too.
that gift alone is clutch for us.
Yeah.
And not take advantage of it is almost silly, because it's people here that kill themselves to cross the ocean to get that kind of opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So to have that thing it's just so clutch, and utilize it so that now you can live cheap, run your business, enjoy more of the income, and now you can invest more wisely. You can finally own land. How many Black CEOs do you know actually own some land or a home in the States?
Not
Very,
many.
very rare.
Yeah.
So, if you don't own your house, your car, and a plot of land, you are poor.
Yeah.
Poor because now everything is relying on you waking up and putting energy into running that business. It
Yeah.
doesn't function without you.
Yeah.
So this is being here has changed my idea about what poor is. And when my son got here, he was like, "Mom, these people are poor," and I said, "No, baby, we are. We are. These people aren't." He was like, "They don't have this and they don't have that." He was telling them, "My dad's rich, I'm rich." He was telling the kids that. I was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, nigga, you're poor. You just don't know it.
So he need to be quiet about that. Okay.
You need to hush." I said, "Ask your friend who owns the house they live in. You're
Okay.
renting. Ask your friend who owns the land that their chickens are running around on. They look so dirty and so." He was like, "But it's dirty." And they own it. They own it. So what I'm learning is Black Americans are we're comfortable in our domesticated, slavery, if you will.
Yeah.
We're cozy inside of it because we can go and use our credit cards and
Yeah.
just put ourselves in more debt. We don't care
Yeah.
about that debt to our children, that we don't own any land or homes. We have gotten too comfortable. And the girl that's next door to me that lives in the shack, she's technically better off than me, because at any moment my landlady could say, "Move out.
Yeah.
I want my shit."
Yeah.
So, and then now I'm homeless. So,
Yeah.
it's just, it's it's a huge conversation, and it's something that we better start really thinking about, because these people are maniacal in their movements, and we can kind of see the system as we knew it, the safety, the security, the confidence in our country just kind of falling down, and it's
Yeah.
prophesized to, it's destined to. So people just have to think about where you want to position yourself for this next part of your journey, and
Exactly.
what ways can you contribute to making it better, as opposed to being like, "Oh, well, Jamaica's too dusty, or this is too this, or this is too that." What can you do to create your new paradigm.
Exactly. You know, when I think about, because people will say like certain countries are underdeveloped or whatever, right? But there's a certain beauty in what it is for what it is, right? Like, I don't want Jamaica to look like America. You know what I'm saying? There's certain, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, or certain areas, like there's certain, we can have like a little balance, but I don't want it to end up being like that. But what I
Right.
find is that if you are able to make money online, and you are able to bring your American dollars, depending on where you are, and you're able to live a more comfortable life, it's almost like the 1920s in your country. Whatever you can establish and build there, you may be the one of three, the one of four, the one of one. And if you can do that, that's pretty amazing to me. That's the way I look at being in certain countries. I'm like, oh, I could do this. They don't have nobody doing this right now. You just need the funds for it. And so when Aki had started in the beginning saying, oh, if you're paying $3,000 or you feel like you can't afford it, the reason I said to you guys, if you're paying $3,000 a month, you can't afford it. It's just how you're looking at things. You may have to do whatever you need to do to leave if that's something that you want to do. But when you're able to now being your new country, you're able to have some income coming from online because there are so many. If you don't want to leave your 9 to 5, it's okay. Get a remote job. Have a remote 9 to 5, right? And then also look at another form of income where you're making money online. Another great form of income is digital marketing or reselling other people's courses. That's just one option. But there's so many options out here where you guys are able to make other sources of income so you can establish the life that you want. And the only reason I'm saying this is because it's not impossible, guys. It's very much so possible to live the life that you want. Some of the reasons people are leaving the countries and more people are leaving America, at least for me, has been like anytime I step into a space that just has more greenery, I just feel so much more at peace. Now, I can be in Kingston in Jamaica, and for Kingstonians in Jamaica, that's the city for them. I'm coming from Atlanta, Georgia, going into Kingston, and although it's the city, it's way more greener. The fact that I can go to the tree and pick a mango is a blessing. The fact that I can go to the tree and pick an apple, or on the side of the road, somebody just gave me some hot ass soup to eat. That's healthier, probably whatever else I'm eating in America. That's a blessing to me. So those are some of the pros that I like that make me feel like at home. I feel so much more at peace. So it's very much so possible, Selfish Babe, to leave the country. This is the second person I've interviewed that has been able to leave the country, live in another country. I'm just saying it's very much so possible. And look, if you're watching this video, look at Miss Aki eating her breakfast that was just served to her. Okay, ma'am. That's what I'm talking about.
I'll shave. Girl. So you are speaking nothing but the gospel. This is such an important dialogue because we are in a really prime scenario to elevate. When I look at places in Jamaica, when I look at places in Belize, it reminds me of what Tulum was 10, 15 years ago when I started going there,
Yeah.
or it became the pseudo spiritual party that it is today. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and I saw it happen. I watched the development, the investors all jump in and bop, 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 bop.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we in on that train? You know,
Mm-hmm.
why aren't we doing that? That's what needs to be happening. And we can do it.
Yes.
Have to unify and strategize. And I have found so many beautiful properties here, turnkey properties here that you could just go and walk into your wellness spa. You can go and walk into your eco village restaurant or whatever, your juice bar, your
Wow.
bed and breakfast hotel, whatever.
Yeah.
It's turnkey. You can just drop a dime. They even take crypto sometimes. You know, you can just go
Wow.
right in. So there's so many opportunities like that that we really need to be paying attention to, because again, mental health and wellness, physical health and wellness, like you said, just the environment alone is healing.
Yeah.
You know, beach, living in a least expensive place with less distraction. There's just so many benefits. Yes, there's mosquitoes, geckos, bugs. Yes, you can't get
Yes.
on crime. Yes, yes, yes. But think about the long-term benefits to your health and what
Yeah.
you leave in legacy and wealth to your children. And
Yeah.
the most viral video I have done in my 12-year career, 10 years on social media, was me saying these are my top 5 reasons why I moved to Belize.
Yeah.
Millions of views. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I've talked about some phenomenal shit on this stuff. This is the video that y'all went
Yeah.
through. And I said, this lets me know that people are really thinking about
Yeah.
what do we do and how do we lead? And people assume it's so difficult. They're like, so what did you do? And I said, I just got on a plane. And I just done that. They're like, but you have to do the paperwork and the citizen. I didn't do nothing. I
Yeah.
and I did not leave. I found out that every 30 days I need to take my passport up the street and get it stamped. I can walk over there and they're gonna stamp it. I'm giving them $100. That's it. And I'm here, done.
Yeah.
So people assuming that it's so hard, it's so expensive, it's all these things. Listen, if you got a flight and a place to go, that's it. And something I think is important for me to know here for people who may be actually very seriously considering moving is that the country operates on Facebook. The country operates on
Okay. What does that
Facebook.
mean?
Let me explain. Okay. This is a gem because I wish I would have known. If you're looking like for a place to live, people go to Google and they start to search, but no,
Mm.
Facebook is the plug.
Okay. Okay.
These people, Facebook to them is like how Facebook was to us 10 years ago. We were so
Okay.
excited to get to know each other. They are on there like that's the best thing since sliced bread.
Wow.
And they are selling everything: cars, rental homes, properties, land,
Okay.
maybe boats, whatever you need.
Yes.
You're going to type it in on Facebook and you're going to find it. So
Okay.
take
That's
that.
funny. But like that just shows you like how you said like what Facebook was to us 10 years ago, which is why I'm telling y'all, if you can do something and make something shake in another country, please just try to do it.
Come on, Olenike, we're going to open a spot. Let's do it.
Okay, but no, and I have another thought when your son was talking about when he was first coming there and saying, "Oh, these people are poor and all this stuff." I'm just thinking about the integration that he's gonna have or has been having, and the skills that he's gonna be able to learn just living on the where he lives. Because I believe you said you can drive to Belize, so I don't know if it's like it's not necessarily an island, but he's gonna learn some skills that maybe I don't know right now. Like I don't know how to make a fire. I don't know
Yes,
how to do certain things, but I may have to have a little boo that can do all those things or be taught that, I'm trying to say. And I feel like when you have those type of skills, you are wealthy in just another way.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's really a part of my goal here is that I'm trying to get into this unschooling thing.
Yeah.
And it's scary. I can't lie because on one hand, I have a child who, like you said, he is learning things on a different level. I let my child take my money and go to the store at 8 years old, 7 years old, buy stuff and come back.
Yeah.
I told our mother this the other day. She was like, what? You let him go downstairs in the dark by himself to go to the store? Yes, I do. What is he learning? He's learning math. He knows he got to bring my change back
Yeah.
to look at the prices, things of this nature. Now, there may be a kid in the States that knows how to spell tissue. My baby can't
Yeah.
spell tissue yet,
Yeah.
but those kids would never, ever know, think, consider going to get their own food from the grocery store and
Yeah.
come back and bring mama correct change.
Yeah.
So there is a type of learning that I'm becoming more interested in, the
Yeah.
things that are going to actually matter for him.
Yes.
A video this morning where some kids were doing a class. They were like 10, 12, and they had a class on how to manage an Airbnb. And they
Wow.
actually had to put the Airbnb up for sale, up for rent and all that. And they actually had guests trying, they told them it's run by 10, 11, and 12-year-olds.
Wow.
They told them this Airbnb is run by kids. And
Wow.
actually, they didn't care. They liked what they did. They liked them
Yeah.
and they were ready to buy.
I love
Why
that.
can't my kid run an Airbnb at
Okay.
12? Okay.
And
And when
save up those coins. I love
listen,
that.
and if he does, what the fuck is it going to do him to go and learn
Exactly.
calculus or
He's
whatever?
learning real life skills right now that's benefiting him in his life right now.
That's the issue that I think we've had with America at all. You know that we're like 27 in the world when it comes to education.
Mm.
Everybody here is a CD student living on credit cards. Americans are not that smart. We saw that all. We see that every election. We just see it all the time.
Yeah.
And we're educated fools, and we know a lot of useless information,
Yeah.
but we're not taught how to maintain and manage wealth at all, and what
Yeah.
better skill to have, because this is how you have power and influence in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
His father, as well as myself, neither one of us were great at academics, but his father and myself are the only CEOs in our family.
Wow. Wow.
And so I even have to watch myself as I am showing him how to integrate, how to prepare for the future and what his experience is, integrating this experience versus that experience, all those things, because he does enjoy the nicer things. He's pretty privileged, pretty bougie, but I think that this is going to give him a balance beyond.
Yes,
I could teach him, the scenario is teaching him a lot.
definitely. There was something that came to my mind. I feel like I lost it. Damn. No, it really came to my mind. I'm like, damn.
Mhm. Well, I'm
Oh, I was at a boutique hotel in Ocho Rios, and it was a really nice hotel, and I was able to meet the hotel owner, one of the hotel owners, and her son. They grew up in the Cayman Islands, and then eventually moved to Jamaica. And her son, I think he was in his teens, she had him working at the restaurant, because this is something you're going to need to know. You need to know all the different types of jobs here at this hotel because eventually you're going to be inheriting this. And so for me, I just thought like that's a real life skill. Like you're working someplace that your parents own because you're learning all the skills you need to eventually run this place on your own. And I thought that that was really amazing. And so when you talked about your son, just integrating and learning different skills or possibly even learning Airbnb, just different things like that where especially learning stuff online or how to make online money, I think that's so important. I remember I was in Jamaica recently and I was asking, I think, a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old, oh, do they plan to like go to college? Like what are their plans or whatever? And they had planned to go to college and no shade or whatever. But one girl, she wanted to do like criminal psychology. And she listens to criminal podcasts. And I was like, oh, I think you should, start your own criminal podcast. Like you could start that right now and it can grow and it can make you money. Or like the son, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, but there's so many things he could learn, like YouTube automation or just stuff that he doesn't even have to show his face online that could be making him money now. Because for me, when I think about college, I think the experience and learning to adult. But do I think about it as a necessity nowadays? Not necessarily. It's not a necessity like it used to be where you needed to have your college degree and get these jobs. Now it's just like learn something online, make some money. And if you want to go to college just for the experience and life stuff, cool, do that. But do I
Mm,
think we need to? Not
mm.
necessarily.
So you think it's become obsolete?
I think it's becoming that way. I think it's good for experience. I think it's good to meet new people from different places. It's good to have your relationship experiences and do those things. Those are fun. And maybe get away from home if you've never been away from home. But do I
Yeah.
think you need a degree? No, because now they're having classes on how to digital market, and they're having classes on stuff on how to be a YouTuber. Like they're having these classes that you don't need to go to college for. You know what I'm trying to say? So
YouTube University. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't really think it's necessary, but that's me. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. There's a lot of dialogue going on about whether or not it's even necessary to spend all that money when you could just use that money to invest in your kids' business idea.
Yeah.
And then they can just learn a trade or, learn whatever that particular skill is for that assignment.
Yeah.
We don't really have a community, or I guess a culture that looks at what the child is good at
Yeah.
and starts to feed that more so than anything, because we kind of put everybody in this incubator.
Yeah.
You should all learn all of this stuff. Whereas one child may say, well, that's not my ministry. You
Yeah.
know, I got a whole nother divine purpose, and I really need to be working on mastering that.
Yeah.
That kind of education is something that I'm very, very interested in. Giving children kind of the freedom to find what their niche is and then really become masters of that, instead of throwing all these subjects at them.
Yeah.
And they have to spend, 8 hours a day focused on all this shit. It's overwhelming. It was for me as a kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus on any of it. It was really difficult. School was very difficult for me.
Yeah.
And just as a creative child, I was literally like getting downloads in class. I was writing songs. I was just too much. I was
Yeah.
writing whole plays. I would ask my teachers, can I perform the play? I would go and get I do the casting for my plays that I would write in my notebook. I would tear out the paper and give parts to everybody in the cast.
Aw.
We would go around and perform the plays at the end of the school class. I was literally doing my own thing going on up in there. Like,
Yeah.
I created the talent shows in my school. I was like, we don't have a talent show. We have to have a talent show. I went and did the petition for the talent show.
Mm.
I was just like, I'm gonna make this what I
Yeah.
want it to be because y'all ain't really popping like that. But
Yeah.
that was always my thing. I started a business in my apartment complex when I was 7. I had a
Wow.
chip bracelet business. I had a cookie business. I had a New Kids on the Block poster business. So
Oh.
I just I was trying to get to the money. My family was poor. I want to go to the ice cream truck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like cute shoes and clothes, at a young age. So
Yeah.
I just, that kind of spirit is what I want to leave with my son. And
Yeah.
he's already very brave, Sagittarius, very cocky, very confident. He's a fish in the water. He swims all under the water like it's nothing. He's
Yeah.
I'm extremely proud of the type of child that he is. I don't think that he's doing as well as he should be academically.
Hmm.
It does concern me a bit, but I think it's really a matter of what he wants to do, when he
Yeah.
feels like doing it. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what it's down to. So
Okay.
yeah, unschooling is it's about to be a way for sure.
No, for real. I see it happening. Now, is
Mhm.
there anything else you want to leave us with, Miss Chef Ahki Taylor?
Oh man. Well, I want to say to you directly that watching you over the years, it's just been such a pleasure.
Oh,
I love seeing my sisters just, embrace their goddess, embrace themselves as young queens and bosses. It's
yeah.
beautiful to witness.
Thank you.
I also I think want to just say to the Selfish Babe sisters that listen, I'm a 44-year-old woman who came from nothing.
Mm.
I got woke very young.
Yeah.
And once the light bulb went off in my life, I dropped the fear. I dropped the fear, and the biggest risks that I've taken in my life have always reaped the biggest rewards.
Yeah.
And so, if you're feeling the need to prioritize everybody else, if you're feeling the need to prioritize safety over or security over your bliss and your passions and desires, I would highly recommend that you move out of that space and just trust and surrender. That creator has you. You're worth that you're
Yeah.
that special, you're that important, and the universe is truly conspiring to support you when you let
Ashe.
go.
Yeah.
Yes, just let go of that fear, let go of all of it, because again, I came here with nothing and I woke up to 80 grand in my bank account.
Ashe. What a blessing, girl.
It's like, again, the biggest risk, the bigger the reward. I swear it's always this way in my life. So, this is, in my deepest opinion, this is just all assimilation of vibrational,
Yeah.
creation anyway. So and I know you teach that a lot on this podcast, and
Yeah.
it's all minds.
Yeah.
And the more you practice, the better you get. I'm not special. I'm someone that I've just practiced this for a long time, and I
Yeah.
believe it. I believe it, and I believe it from the constant evidence that it's provided, through the experience. So I leave you with that, sisters. I adore you. My work is
Oh,
women. My ministry is working with sisters. Healing, wellness, activism is my life. So if you need support, I got you. Come to Belize, come visit. I do wellness activations
yeah.
for individuals and groups. So
Yes.
you feel like you want to come visit, I invite people. I have a 6-bedroom, 2 separate space here. It's a bed
Yes.
and breakfast. So if you need to come, and I'm offering this to you too, Olanike.
Oh,
If you
thank
ever just want to
you.
come and visit, I have a guest room for you.
Oh,
And anybody who wants to come and explore, I do retreats here yearly, and I also do retreats all over the world. So please join me. Go to the supernaturalwomanretreat.com.
hey.
Go to akitaylor.com and DM me on all things Chef Ahki Taylor, Instagram, Facebook, all the
Yeah.
things.
And I'll make sure I have her links below. So make sure that you guys check out her links below, especially if you're like, dang, I've been thinking about maybe going out of the country and maybe I do want to live out the country. Let me just go see what this Belize country is looking like. I would highly suggest to go visit. And I would definitely take you up on that offer, Miss Chef Aki, because I want to come and check it out myself.
Come on, girl.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you guys for joining and listening to this podcast episode. If you have any questions, make sure to DM both of us. XOXO, Selfish Babe.
Peace and love.